Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayana Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantav Punah Punah. The Lord Yama gave Nachiketa. Nachiketa had waited at the Lord Yama's house for 3 nights. And therefore the Lord Yama gave 3 boons to Nachiketa. In the first boon, he asked for the peace of his father and mother. I'm just saying mother, but it's not mentioned in the book. Because when the father is sad, mother also is going to be sad. The father and the parents. In the first boon, he asked for the mental peace of his parents. And in the second boon, he asked for a ritual. And that ritual he gave, and the Lord Yama gave the knowledge of the ritual, Ya Ishtaka, Hayavati, Vaya, etc. And then later on, and then the Lord Yama said, this ritual will be called after your name. Nachiketa Agni it will be called. But its result has to be mentioned. Its result, supposing a person performs this result, even though it is said, one goes to Swargaloka, etc., but it was not complete. And therefore, a Vedanti, if a person has failed to understand the truth in this life, then if he has done that Nachiketa Agni, then Shatam cha eka cha hridayasya najyaha. Then the verse comes. Then he asks for the Shatam cha eka cha. This particular 16th verse, this Kathopanishad we are doing, and the 16th verse, the last but two verses. This there are 100 nadis emanating from 101 nadis emanating from the heart, and out of them there is one nadi called Sushumna nadi. That Sushumna nadi, tasam murdhanam avinisritaika. Avinisrita means it spreads, it moves. Avinisrita means it spreads. It moves towards. Nisrita murdhanam means the head. Avinisrita means it moves, it pervades, it moves ahead towards the eka. Eka means one nadi moves ahead into the head of the more than the forehead of the person. Taya urdhvam ayanna, taya by that nadi, urdhvam means the above, ayanna means urdhvam ayan means while dying, urdhvam ayanna while dying, amrutatvam eti. If a person while dying, if he is aware of that nadi and that place, if he reaches that place, that Sushumna nadi, etc., through that Sushumna nadi, then Amritatvameti, he goes to Brahma Loka. This is a matter of belief that there are 101 nadis, and out of them one reaches the heart, one reaches the Murdhanam. And if a person he dies through that Sushumna nadi, he will go to Brahmaloka. The very existence of Brahmaloka is a matter of belief. And that he will go to Brahmaloka is a matter of belief. And he will be liberated totally along with the Brahmaji is another belief. This is a matter of belief. Ritual Karma Kanda is totally based upon a belief. Unlike Vedanta. Vedanta is something else. Vedanta is based on self-evidence. Your existence, your existence, please. Because your existence is self-evident. Your existence is self-evident. Your existence is unobjectifiable. Your body is objectifiable. Your thoughts are objectifiable, but you are not objectifiable. You are a conscious being. Consciousness is not an adjective of the body. Consciousness is not an adjective of the thoughts also. There is no noun-adjective relationship between consciousness and thoughts. And therefore, You can't say thought is a noun and then it has consciousness as an adjective. Consciousness is neither the noun with adjectives nor is it an adjective of thoughts and the body. There is a misunderstanding. The whole Vedanta is about this adhyasa. Adhyasa is consciousness is misunderstood as the solely consciousness is misunderstood as deha. And therefore, this is Vedanta is based upon self-evidence, whereas Karmakanda is based upon belief. And therefore, Murdhanam Ayanna Amrutatvam. Amrutatvam means it is apeksham, relative Amrutatvam eti. Eti means gachati. He reaches the Amrutatvam. He reaches the Brahmaloka and he enjoys the results. He enjoys the results of that Nachiketa Agni while having performed it, and the enjoyments are all objects of Brahmaloka. Whatever pleasures are there in Brahmaloka, he will enjoy them for a long time, and that is what is called relative Amrutatvam, and that relative Amrutatvam eti gachati. Vishwanganyaha utkarmane bhavanti. And the rest of the nadis, they're all meant for leaving the body in order to take another body. They're only meant for, they are only meant to keep the individual in samsara only. And therefore, they leave the individual and in order to take another body and then they go to the samsara. Because the other nadis are meant to kill a person and they are meant to create a new body. He goes to and enters a new body and then ultimately he remains in samsara. And that is the job of the other nadis. Whereas Sushumna Nadi, that there is Sushumna Nadi itself is a matter of belief, please. That it will go to the forehead, and that itself is a matter of belief. And then when your forehead is little soft in the case of the children, the infants, and therefore we think that God has entered through the forehead. God doesn't enter through the forehead. God is the Atma of every individual. To be Atma doesn't enter anything. Like the waves have the water as the Atma. Water is the Atma. Water doesn't enter the wave. It's not an event. When the wave is formed, the wave is formed in water, and therefore don't say that there is water in the wave. The wave is in the water, please. The bubbles are in water. In the same manner, the thoughts are, the body is in consciousness. The thoughts are in consciousness, in you. Taya, and therefore it's a Utkramane Bhavanti. Utkramane means in leaving the body. Bhavanti. Vishwang means all. Anyaha means all others. All other nadis, Utkramane Bhavanti. They are meant only to quit the body and take another body and remain in samsara. And therefore, this this is a this is exactly Karmakanda says that Agni Vidya, Nachiketa Agni Vidya, whoever performs will go to Brahmaloka. Is a matter of belief. And if you have the belief, you can perform it. If you don't have the belief, then you study Vedanta. And what does Vedanta say? Your existence, please. Your existence. Our country requires Vedanta, please. We have to be strong. In order to be strong, you have to know yourself. And therefore, and you don't have to really follow the beliefs. You can follow what is evident. A scientist follows what is evident, sense evident. The only difference between Vedanta and science is the science is sense evident. Science talks about the sense evident, the world, the sense organs evident to the senses. Whereas the seer is self-evident. The seer is self-evident. The knower is self-evident. The subject is self-evident, whereas the object is sense-evident. And scientists always talk about the sense-evident objects, whereas Vedanta talks about the self-evident subject consciousness. They don't talk about, the scientists do not talk about the consciousness because themselves are the consciousness. And then they think that really the physical is indeed the ultimate. The physical is only anubhava vishaya, whereas the one who sees it is more evident, is self-evident, and that self-evidence is the on the basis of that self-evidence is the topic of Vedanta. Vedanta talks about you, the self-evident you, the self-existently, the self-existent you, the self-evident you, the self, uh, the self-effulgent you, the self-effulgent you, the self-evident you, the self-conscious you, the the self-evident you, the self-effulgent you, and the self-existent you. And therefore there is no belief in Vedanta, please. You don't have it. It is said, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, it is anubhava avasanatvat. It is on the basis of anubhava. That is why it is said Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava. In Karma Kanda there is no Anubhava, whereas here there is Anubhava. Shruti, Shruti means what the scripture says, the pointer. The Yukti means the Yukti is man becomes really very illogical, and in order to see that he is logical while thinking about him, and that is called Yukti. Anubhava, and that is Anubhava means Anubhava Swarupam, that is Anubhava, that is his own existence. The one who is aware of the waking, the one who is aware of the dream, the one who is aware of the deep sleep state, the one who experiences all the three states, is indeed self-evident, and that is the topic, please. And therefore, there is a difference between Karmakanda and Vedanta. Karmakanda is totally belief-based. I don't know whether it will take me to Brahmaloka or not, but yet I perform it. And then you may say that it is Shastra and all that. So what? If even if it is Shastra, it is Shastra. Shastra also becomes a matter of belief. You can also take it as a matter of belief, unless it is either sense evident or self evident. It becomes a matter of belief, and matter of belief means you take it for granted. You imagine it may happen. You may think that it is going to happen, but it's not subjective also. Karmakanda is not subjective. Karmakanda, you talk about, it has its results, and therefore it ceases to be the subjective, ceases to be subjective. Karmakanda is not a subjective science. Karmakanda, nor Vedanta is a subjective science. It talks about the subject, all right. Vedanta talks about the subject, but it's not subjective. There is a difference between the subject being the topic and to be subjective. Subjective means Purusha Tantra. Purusha Tantra means as you think, so you based upon likes and dislikes. The Vedanta, it doesn't talk about the Vedanta doesn't talk about you as a subjective science. It talks about you as absolute, as absolute. Now you may look at yourself as a subject. In relation to the object, you may call yourself the subject, but you are comprehensive of the object, and as comprehensive of all the entire universe, you are absolute, and therefore you are the Atma of the entire universe. You are the Atma. The universe is not your Atma. You are the Atma of the entire universe. You are the Atma of this body. You are the Atma of the mind. You are the Atma of every cell. You are the Atma of the intellect. You are the Atma of the memory. And you are the Atma of the whole Jagat. And therefore, and as the Atma of the whole Jagat, you are Parameshwara. And Parameshwara doesn't mean he has to be mighty, doesn't mean. I told you in the previous class, mighty doesn't mean a lot of physical power. I don't believe in that physical power. It is only peace, to be peaceful. You use your powers also for peace. You use your money also for peace. There is nothing greater, there is nothing more valuable than peace, please. Peace. And peace is the nature of the Atma. And Parameshwara's nature also is to be absolute serenity. And that the absolute serenity is exactly what man needs, because that happens to be his nature. And he is Parameshwara. When we say we don't have to we don't have to think that I don't have any I don't have any physical powers. How can I be Parameshwara? I say you are by nature, you are peace, you are serenity. And serenity is the nature of Parameshwara. Serenity is the nature of you also. And to be the self of the whole means the self doesn't have the that which is the truth of the entire universe doesn't have the will of its own. It doesn't have the will of its own, and therefore the will is there only in one of the individuals. Every individual is one of the individuals, and therefore an individual has a will, but the Ishvara doesn't have the will, and therefore you don't have to worry that whether you have physical prowess or not. It doesn't matter at all. By nature you are peaceful, your serenity. In Sushupti, your serenity. That is your nature. Because in Sushupti, there is no presence of things. There is no thought of the absence of things also. And therefore, only when you see the presence of things, you think of the absence of things. Therefore, Sushupti is neither presence of things nor absence of things. It is the presence of yourself, the subject. That is why Bhagavan says, Shankaracharya ji says, even though you say you can only transcend the object of experience, you can't go beyond the experience. The anubhava is your experience, anubhava, and that you already have, and therefore you can't go beyond the anubhava that you are already the anubhava swarupa. You can't transcend the transcender. You can't transcend the transcender, please. You can transcend the you can transcend the object, all right. You can't transcend the transcender. You can't transcend the anubhava experience. You can the object of knowledge can be negated, but knowledge cannot be negated. Knowledge, and therefore that you have waking is a matter of knowledge. Dream perception is a matter of knowledge, and sushupti also is a matter of knowledge. That's why Bhagavan says anubhuyamanatvat. It is something that is experienced, and therefore there is a difference between Karma Kanda and Vedanta, please. And therefore, Karma Kanda is based upon beliefs and Vedanta is based upon evidence. This you have to always understand. Karma Kanda is based on belief, Vedanta is based upon self evidence. And therefore, Vedanta is different from Karma Kanda. And the Drishta Karma, here it is inferable, but there you can't even infer. It is totally based upon belief. You can't infer, maybe you can't infer that by doing this, I can go to heaven. By doing a Swarga Kamesh Tyaga, by performing Swarga Kamesh Tyaga, I will go to Swarga. You can't even infer. It is totally a matter. Karma Kanda is totally a matter of belief, please. And this you have to understand. Vedanta is based upon self-evidence. And therefore, you don't club Vedanta with Karma Kanda. Don't club them together. The Bhagavad Gita is also talking about the self-evidence because it is Vedanta. But we do see right now that whenever you are prayerful, you are relatively peaceful. And prayer, even if I pray, I will go to I will get mental peace. Is also a belief, but then it is more than a belief. I experience mental peace when I pray here, and therefore prayer is a part of Vedanta. Prayer is a part of Vedanta, please. And therefore, don't disbelieve prayer. Prayer is something we do experience right now, that the prayer giving mental peace, mental serenity. And therefore, prayer is different from Karma Kanda. Prayer is simple prayer, is different from japa tapa, is different from disciplines, are different from Karma Kanda, please. And therefore, there is a difference between Vedanta and Karma Kanda. I have explained this, and this is a very important point to see the distinction between Karma Kanda and Vedanta. And now we are going to see the 17th verse. This verse, it is said, Idanim Sarvavalyartha Upasamhararthamaha. This particular verse, as though it's comprehensive of the entire Valli, the entire Upanishad. In fact, the entire Vallika, the entire Valli is it is something covered in this verse. It is said that is all right. Upasamhararthaha. It is meant to conclude. It is meant to comprehend. It is comprehensive of the entire. It is the essence of the entire Valli. That's all right. Angushta matraha means here, uh, because the body is called Angushta, the body is called Angushta matraha, and therefore I identify with the body, and therefore I'm also called, the Jiva, the conscious being, is also called Angushta matra Purusha. Is looked upon as Angushta matra Purusha. He is called Purusha. He is unlimited, but he is taken to be Angushta matraha because he is taken to be the body. Purusha, he is called Purusha, he is a conscious being. Purnatvat Purusha, Purayati, and he fills up everything. He fills up the entire Anatma. Like the water fills up all the waves, like all the waves and bubbles, the water fills up. In the same manner, Atma fills up the entire Anatma. Antaratma. It is Antaratma. It is inner self. It is the outer self is called Anatma. What is objectifiable is outer Atma, like Paranchakhani Pasna Swayambhu Parang Pashatina Antaratma. It is always it is in contrast to Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma means the inner self. The Antaratma means Pratyagatma, the inner self. The inner because Atma has to be the truth of the Anatma. That is why it is called Atma. Atma of what? Atma of Anatma. Purushaha Antaratma. Sada Jananam Hridaye Sannivishtaha. And it has always entered the Jiva's hearts. Sada means always. Janana means Jantaka. Hridaye means in the heart. Sannivishtaha means has entered. It has not entered. It is not an event place. It is present. Sanana, Sada Jananam Hridaye Sannivishtaha means Asti. It is present. It is present. The Atma is present in every heart. In every thought it is present. In every perception it is present. In every heart it is present. In every sense organ it is present. In every cell of the body it is present. It is present as the full being. Just because the cells are divisible, that doesn't mean that what is present in all these divided cells is divisible also. Just as waves are divisible, but then the water is one. Even though we call them as sea waters, but then we don't consider it as a plural. It is sea water, sea water. Even though it's called waters, but it is sea oceanic water. Water. It is one water. Similarly, here the thoughts are many, the cells are many, the objects are many, the universe, the objects are many, the elements are many, but yet what is present in all, the self of all of them, the truth of all of them is one. And therefore, Hridaya, and that is something. Atma is always one. And what about other Atmas, Swami? Where are the other Atmas? Rama is one Atma, Ravana is another Atma. When they go to sleep, there is only one Atma. Nirvisesham, Atma is Nirvisesham. Nirviseshams cannot be more than one. Nirvisesham, like in Sushupti, when you go to Sushupti, there is no second thing for you. You remain an absolute. You can't have two absolutes, please. There can be two relatives, but you can't have two absolutes. And therefore, you can't have two infinites. One infinite, if there are two infinites, then one has to objectify the other. Otherwise, where is the pramanam? You have to show the you have to establish the pramanam. If you are also consciousness, you are a separate consciousness from me, then it should be either you should objectify me, the consciousness, or I should objectify you, the consciousness. And once it is objectifiable, then it becomes anatma. If it is not objectifiable, then it remains consciousness. And if it remains consciousness, then that cannot be objectified. I cannot objectify you, the conscious being. You cannot objectify me, the conscious being. And therefore, the unobjectifiable is only one. You can't prove them to be true, and therefore it's a very important thing to understand. Please, we are all different jivas, as bodies, as forms. We are different jivas, but as consciousness, we are one truth. As consciousness, we are one truth. Please, this is what we have to understand. There is no difference between a human being and a mosquito, please, because a mosquito's body is small. A mosquito is different from a mosquito's body is different from a human body, and human upadhi is different from a mosquito upadhi, mashakasa upadhi. But mashaka, the consciousness, and the manushya, the consciousness are one and the same. Consciousness being the same, there is no difference between a human being and a mosquito. A human being may be, he may think, he may be more self-conscious, and he may understand himself, but a mosquito may not be able to understand. But yet consciousness, it is. The mashaka also is consciousness. Human being also is consciousness, and therefore as consciousness, it's one and the same. You can't objectify the mashaka, the consciousness. You can objectify the mashaka's body, all right. You can objectify the mashaka's thinking, all right. Just as you can objectify your thinking, you can objectify others' thinking also. Whenever they talk about their thinking, then you can objectify it, but you can't objectify consciousness. Sada jananam hridaye sannivishtaha. Because consciousness being infinite, it can't enter. Sannivishta, even though it is said it is a part of prakriya, it is a part of teaching. Sannivishtaha, it is as though entered, but it is present. The Atma doesn't, the water doesn't enter the wave, space doesn't enter the pot. When the pot is made in space. The clay is kneaded and it is made a pot in the space. The space is the Atma, the immediate Atma of the pot. And the space may be present in the pot. And that space in the pot may think I am confined to the walls of the pot. And another pot comes and says, another pot space comes and says, I say, how is that possible? How can you be? You are not confinable. Because in you alone is the pot made. The very pot it exists. The pot exists because of the pot exists in you. उनको जाके बोल दो पे कौन है वो अच्छा अंगुष्ठमात्रः पुरुषः अंतरात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः. Some noise is always there. You have to put up with it and you have to hear it, Ji. Because you can't get all comfortable class with all comforts, no. Some discomforts will be there, some noises will be there, some disturbances will be there, and you have to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you will die. What is the use of dying? And therefore, without knowing yourself, there is no point. And therefore, as long as you are alive, so long you use all your disciplines to be alive. You use all your money to be alive, and then know yourself. And what is the use of just really leaving the money and then and dying? And therefore, you don't have to live for knowing yourself. Live for knowing yourself, and use every asset that you have for being alive in order to know yourself. Therefore, Sada Jananam Hridaye Sannivishtaha means it can't enter the heart. It is already present in the heart. It is like just as the water is present in all the waves, the space is present in the pot. In the same manner, awareness is present in the entire anatma, in the heart. Tam swam swat sharirat. Tam, that consciousness, swat sharirat, from your own body. Pravrihet, may you discern it. Pravrihet means may you discern. May you pull it out. Pravrihet means it's not something, it's not an object to be pulled out. It is something to be discerned, to be understood, the distinction between Atma and Anatma. You can't really, it's not a karma vishayam. It is not a kriya vishayam, please. It's not something to be done. It is something to be understood. What is something to be understood? The distinction between the Atma and Anatma. Atma Anatmanoho, Atma Anatmanoho Viveka Abhavaha, Bhagavan says, the absence of Viveka is the reason why there is Adhyasa. The Adhyasa is there only because I don't discern. Pravrihet means I should, and therefore I am translating it as discern. Pravrihet, let one discern. Tam swat sarirat pravrihet. Munjadiva ishikam. Munjadiva. Munjad means a grass. Ishika means the central part of the Ishika means, if you taste it, it is little like sugar. It is little sweet. And therefore, that Ishikam, you have to pull it out. You have to pull it out. You have to pull the Ishika from the Munja in the same manner from the Swat Sharirat Pravrihet. May you discern. You can pull the Ishika all right, but you can't pull the Atma. Separating it means it is given as this example is given just to show how distinct they are. The Ishika is embedded in the grass. It has whereas the Anatma is embedded in Atma, and therefore you cannot really pull out the Atma, the unlimited. You can only be the Atma. You cannot pull it out. It is not something. You can only see the distinction between your being, the peacefulness of your being, serenity of your being, and the Anatma, the disturbances. Thus, the distinction has to, Pravrihet means should be taken as the discerned. See the distinction. Distinction that is already, you don't have to make the distinction, you don't have to create the distinction, you only see the distinction. Munjadivishikam. Dhairyena. Dhairyena means with a lot of dherata. Dhairyena. Dhairya means that is with a lot of dhairyam. What is dhairyam? In English, what is the word that is? Patience. With a lot of patience, dhairyena. With a lot of steadfastness, perseverance, steadfastness, and patience. All these things are dheraj rakhe. Because you can't impatiently pull it out. ऐसा नहीं है. There is nothing to be done, please. You can only just be as you are, and then you can understand yourself. You can be as you are, and you can understand. Like the wave can just be as it is and understand that I am not a form, I am water. In the same manner, the Atma, Jivatma can understand that I am Paramatma. I am one, just as the wave can understand, I am not a given wave, I am water, which is the truth of all waves. Similarly, here also, the Jivatma can understand the conscious, the conscious being, which takes itself to be the form, can understand itself to be not a form, but consciousness, which is the truth of the entire universe, the Paramatma. Tam vidyat shukram, and tam vidyat, may you understand that truth. Vidyat means may you understand. Tam means that truth. That truth may you understand. Shukram. Shukram means as the pure. Shukram means it is freedom from disturbance. It is called Shukram. Shukram, call it Shukram, call it Shuddham, call it pure. It means only free from disturbance. Free from you can't even use your choice to lose it. You can't choose to renounce it. You can't choose to renounce peace. You can't choose to renounce happiness. In fact, renunciation, you can renounce every object, all right, but you can renounce every object for happiness, but you can't renounce happiness. You can renounce unhappiness because that is not your nature. Whereas happiness you cannot renounce because that is your nature. And therefore that is called Shukram. Shukra means pure. What is pure? Only the truth is pure. Shukram. Amrutam. Amrutam means it is it is, it is eternal. It is eternal. Sorry. It is eternal. Amrutam. Amrutam does not mean one drinks a lot of amritam, etc., and then he becomes eternal. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Freedom from time is amritam. Amritam means freedom from time. You may drink amritam. You can get only relative. You can only live for a long time, but you can't become timeless. The timelessness of your nature has to be understood, please. Timelessness you can't become. You can't become timeless. You're already timeless. You're already timeless because the entire universe is embedded in the timeless, and therefore you are the timeless being. That Atma is timeless being, and therefore Shukram tad Amritam. Amritam does not mean that you have to drink something in order to be Amritam. There is no Amritam. Devatas drank Amritam in order to become relatively longer lasting. That's all. That relative eternity, relative immortality is different from timeless immortality. Timelessness. Like in Sushupti, you are eternal, please. Only for a small short time, Swamiji. They say there is no time. It is eternity. It is eternity, please. It is the nature of yourself. Tam vidya sukram, amritam. That is pure. The truth is pure. The truth may one understand only the truth to be the pure and eternal. Tam vidya sukram, amritatmamiti, amritamiti, and this is repeated twice in order to show that the topic is over, and the topic is over. It is the last line is repeated. Tam vidyat sukram amritam. Tam vidyat sukram amritam iti. Twice it is repeated in order to show that the text is over. The topic is over. This Kathopanishad comes from Sri Krishna Yajurveda and Katavalli and Katashaka. And now in the next verse says, the last verse says that Mrityu Proktam, what is taught by Mrityu, the Lord Yama, Mrityu Proktam, the Vidya, what is taught by Mrityu, Mrityu Proktam, Nachiketaha Atha Labdhva, Nachiketaha Atha, then Labdhva, having understood it, Vidyam Etam Yoga Vidim Chakritsnam. Vidyam means this knowledge, Etam means this knowledge, Yoga Vidim cha. Yoga Vidim, which means all these disciplines, all physical disciplines, the karma, kritsnam completely, Brahma Praptaha, he came to know the Brahman. He came to know himself as Brahman. Brahma Praptaha, Virajaha, Abhut, Virajo Bhut. Virajaha means became pure. Abhut means he became. He became pure. He only understood himself to be pure. He doesn't become pure. Nobody can become pure. Brahma Praptaha, Virajaha Abhut, Vimrutyuhu, and then he became eternal. Vimrutyuhu, he became free from death also. Anyaha, Anyopi, Evam Yovit, the one who, anyone who understands this, Adhyatmameva, anyone who understands the Adhyatma means the self, Adhyatmam, Evam Veda, Anyopi, and the other person also, we can know the truth, can become eternal. If Nachiketa becomes pure and eternal, anybody who can know himself also can become pure and eternal. And therefore, one doesn't have to think that only Nachiketa is qualified and everyone is not qualified. Every human being is qualified to know himself because everybody is looking for happiness. And therefore, every human being, if a person if a person cannot understand Vedanta, then he can get, if his mental disturbance is there, that mental disturbance he can handle mental disturbance, and then he come to know the truth. But then discerning between the being, he is not one of the things. He is the Atma. He is Atma. The Deha is Anatma. The one who fills up the Deha is the Atma. The one who fills up the mind is Atma. The one who fills up the intellect is the Atma. And therefore the Atma is the Antaratma. It is not a Bahiratma. It is Antaratma. It is unobjectifiable self. This one has to think. And for this thinking, I don't think really every human being is not qualified. Every human being is qualified. Every human being is qualified to know the truth. You don't have to think. If a person is not qualified, shama dama uparati tiksha shraddha samadhanam etc. are not there, you can always cultivate them. You can always pick them up. It's not a very big thing. Mental control, sense control, uparati, abiding in your own beauty, uparati, titiksha, patience. These are not very great. These are not great spiritual, impossible, difficult situation, impossible spiritual values. They're all possible spiritual values. With a little will and a little effort, you can understand the value of them. When you understand the value of the values will come to you. The value of the values is that they facilitate understanding the truth. The value of the values is they facilitate you to understand the truth. That is good enough. Even karma yoga is a value. That's the right attitude. Attitude also, it is a belief based. Yes, it is a right. It is a belief based. When Bhagavan says, "I will be there in your heart, and I will guide you in understanding the truth." When he says, it's a matter of belief. I don't know what happens after death. I leave the body, and then I don't know. And then whether I will be born in a right family or I will be born in a wrong family, I don't know. But and therefore, even the Bhagavan says it's a matter of belief. Karma yoga is also a matter of belief. But they all really facilitate me in understanding the truth. If they facilitate me in understanding the truth, then they are valuable. Even though they are belief based, they are just they help me to understand the truth. They help me to understand the self evident, and therefore they are valuable. And therefore, uh, anyone, if Nachiketa can become pure and liberated, anyone who can understand the Adhyatmam, the self, he can also understand. Swamiji, if the self is the truth, then why do you worship God? I say, I say you can worship God as long as that it is as long as Adhyasa is there. As a Jiva, you are born of Parameshvara. As a Jiva, you are related to Ishvara, and therefore you pray to God. But then that's a matter of belief. Yes, that God is other than you is not a matter of belief. It is adhyas, adhyasikam. It is adhyasa due to adhyasa due to. If I am an individual, that I am an individual itself is due to adhyasa. That I am a jiva itself is a matter of adhyasa, and therefore, and as an individual, if I am there, there has to be a total the Parameshwara, and therefore that Parameshwara, I think of him as separate from me, and that is due to not that is not due to a belief. That is a matter of adhyasa. That is an error place. True, if God is the Atma of everything, He is the Atma of me also. He is the Atma of my body also. He is the Atma of my mind also. And the same Atma is the what? It is said, and that is what your identity is. And therefore try to understand that Atma, Parameshwara cannot be anything as an individual. He is not an individual, another is not a big individual. He is Atma of everything. And therefore, if Nachiketa can understand and become pure and become liberated, in the same manner, anyone who can understand himself can be pure, can become pure, and can be liberated also. He doesn't have to become pure, he has to recognize that he is already pure. And the last is the prayer, Shanti Mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu. May God protect. Saha means the Parameshwara. Now means Am Dono Ko. Am Dono Ko means now means me and my teacher. Avatu means Rakshatu. Protect. May he protect. May he protect both of us. Sahana Vavatu. Saha now Bhunaktu. And he may he feed me and my teacher together. He cannot feed only myself. He cannot only he has to feed myself and my teacher also. My teacher is also as important as me. Sahanau bhunaktu. Saha viryam karava. May we both make an effort to teach, as well as my teacher has to make an effort to teach me, and I should make an effort to understand it. Saha viryam karava bhai. Tejasvina vadhitamastu. And may we both, what is taught by him, let him remain as his experience, and let him not be separate from himself. And what I understand, let it not stand separate from me. Let it become a part of me. Sahaviryam karvapahai. Teja, may we become brilliant in that manner. May my teacher become brilliant, bright. May myself also, me as a student become bright. Sahavya tejasvanavaditamastu. Mavidvishavahai. And let there be no indifference to each other. Let there be no indifference to each other. May I not be indifferent to my teacher. Let my teacher also be not be indifferent to me. May we not ma vidvishavahai. May we not dislike each other. May we not dislike each other, because may we not dislike each other. And then may Bhagavan protect both of us. May Bhagavan feed us both of us. And may Bhagavan also, may Bhagavan inspire him, my teacher, to make an effort. May he inspire me also to make an effort. And Tejasvanavadit Mastu. What is taught by my teacher, let it not stand separate from him. And what I listen also, let it not stand separate from me. May we become bright with his teaching and with my understanding. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let there be serenity, let there be peace, let there be peace, let there be peace. First peace is to let Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It is said Adi Adhya Adi Bhautika. Let there be peace outside in the world. And then outside above Om Shanti Adi Bhautikam. And then Adi Daivatam, Adi Daivikam. Shanti. Second Shanti is Adi Bhautikam. Let the society be peaceful. Let gods be peaceful. Let the society be peaceful. And let my body and let my mind also be peaceful. Let there be no vignas, Adi Daivika vignas, or Adi Bhautika vignas, or Adhyatmika vignas. Let there be no vignas at all in gaining in understanding myself, and also understanding myself as of the nature of Shanti, peace. Iti, the text is completed. And then the next text that we are going to start is Aparokshanubhuti. Aparoksham means neither paroksham nor pratyaksham. Pratyaksham means what can be objectified, and what can be what is right in front of you. You can objectify. An objectifiable form is pratyaksham. An objectifiable sound is pratyaksham. Taste, an object of taste, touch, smell is a pratyaksham. This universe is pratyaksham. But America, you don't say it is paroksham. Paroksham is that when you go there, it should become pratyaksham. Paroksham, first it is pratyaksham. For the people who are there, it is pratyaksham. When you go there, it becomes paroksham. There cannot be nitya paroksham. It is always pratyaksham is paroksham is something. Paroksham is something. When you go there, it should become pratyaksham. Like heaven is there. You say it is paroksham. All right, it may be paroksham, but when I go there, it should be objectifiable. Then I can say it is there, because it has to be pratyaksham in order to know the object, in order to say that there is an object. Therefore, pratyaksham and paroksham. And what is distinct from both pratyaksham and paroksham is aparoksham. Paroksham means what is not pratyaksham. Aparoksham means what is not paroksham. That means what is neither paroksham nor pratyaksham. And therefore, it is called aparoksham. Aparoksha is your existence. It's not your form. Your form is objectifiable. Your thoughts are objectifiable. Your existence is not objectifiable. Your existence is something that is unobjectifiable. And it is always experienced by you that I am there. And it is always in the form of anubhuti, aparoksha anubhuti. Aparoksham itself is in the form of anubhuti. We don't have to say aparokshasya anubhuti. Aparoksham itself is in the form of anubhava swarupam, anubhuti swarupam. And the more of it we will see in the next class. In the next class, we will begin with the aparoksha anubhuti. Thank you very much. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.